Hi, welcome to the end of September update of St. John Real Estate here on the east coast of Canada. Dave Cochrane with RE/MAX Professionals of St. John, New Brunswick. It's been an interesting time in New Brunswick. Just in the last few weeks, we elected a new government. So as the leaves fall in New Brunswick this fall, I guess they're going to be blue. Well, at least 42 of them will be blue. That's how many seats the Tories got, and David Alward's the Premier-elect right now. A couple of things relating to real estate that the Tories promised. They said they'd freeze electricity rates for 3 years, but apparently that was on the assumption Point Lift Pro would be operational by February 2012. And be operating at a high level of efficiency, so we'll have to see how that works out. Also interesting to see how the promise of capping tax assessments will go. Tories said they cap them for 3 years while they're deciding what a better plan would be than the one we have now. I mean, it outrages a lot of taxpayers. You can be living in a house, maybe it's assessed at $300,000, the guy next door, virtually the same house, you've been in it, you know, and it's assessed at $250, $260. So they've got to come up with a better way, and that's one of the things that New Brunswick Realtors talked a lot about to the candidates in the last provincial election. So we'll have to see what happens there. I know a lot of the mayors are anxiously waiting to see what happens with the new system of assessments, because the municipalities get their money from the property taxes. RE/MAX and other real estate surveys have shown that the housing market around St. John is cooling, not evaporating or collapsing. I'll have more information about the local market in just a second here. But you know, even though the market's cooled around here, we still have the most reasonably priced housing in the country. You know, if you're watching this on the internet and you're in another part of the country or down through the States, you know, the average price of a house in Vancouver is around $950,000. I have no idea how Vancouverites afford an average house like that, because they're not making 5 times the salary that St. John, New Brunswick people are, and our average price of a house is about $181,000. Calgary and Toronto are around $450,000, so it's very affordable around here. RBC Economics, their latest report says housing affordability in Atlantic Canada continues to be quite attractive. You think? It's pretty much more attractive than anywhere else in Canada. Regina seems to be about on par with us, has for a long time, but you can't beat the price of houses in Atlantic Canada. Warren Buffett, who you may have heard of, one of the richest men in the world, and you know, a very, very successful investor. It just said recently, just in the last week or so, that banks are lending again, businesses are hiring employees, and Mr. Buffett expects the economy to come back stronger than ever. In fact, the economy in Canada has recouped all the jobs it lost in 2008, 2009, so things are starting to look up. It's a buyer's market in St. John right now. It was a seller's market for a few years. It's now a buyer's market. And it'll, you know, be a neutral market back to a seller's market. Real estate's cyclical, just like history. So if you're a seller, it's not a bad market to sell in right now, and I'm not bragging, but I have sold a lot of my listings lately, and not at rock bottom prices, you know, fair market value. So in the city, there's a development on the west side. It's out around Route 1 near Lorneville area, and it's home to what could be about 500 units. Approval for the project received final approval for zoning changes just in the last little while from City Council. One thing that the councillors are concerned about is their first priority should not be the suburbs. Try to develop downtown. Well, that's great, but not everybody wants to live downtown, even if you had the best housing in the world was downtown. Deputy Mayor Stephen Shea said anyone can build a house or a building. What we need to do is start building neighborhoods. In the Kennebecasis Valley, Rothsay Mayor Bill Bishop is hoping that the new progressive conservative government, provincial government, will follow through with a liberal promise to pass over a piece of land from the government to the town of Rothsay is a parcel of land around Scott Avenue, and that will help a lot with helping get much needed renovations to the Rothsay Arena. They need a little bit more land to make that possible, so hopefully that will come through, even with the changes of government. Speaking of arenas, looks like the new Qplex in Quispamsis will be opening, but not till sometime in January. Okay, the local sales. Well, they're down about 8% over last year, but only down 3% for total dollar volume, which leads me to believe that even though sales may be down a bit, the houses that are selling for more money. The price of a house is up about 1.2% over last year. Now that's a small growth, but at the same time, it's not a negative. It is a positive, 1.2%. In the market, $70,000 to $100,000 price range was about the same as it was to this point last year. Some of the other price ranges, $100,000 to $240,000 was down, $240,000 to $260,000 was up, as was the over $350,000 price range. In the various areas of Greater St. John, Charlotte County, if you're not familiar with this area, that would be outside St. John West, down to St. Stephen in the border with Maine. And that Charlotte County area continues to do very well. In fact, their sales are about 5% higher than they were last year. Grand Bay Westfield's about the same. In the city proper, it was down about 10%. Kennebecasis Valley, that Rothsay Quispamsis area, out through Wells, was down about 14%. Hampton was only down 4%, and Sussex, which has been real and rockin', was down, and it was down about 10%. The Kingston Peninsula, there's a lot happening on the Kingston Peninsula. You can get to it coming down through Hampton, or you can take the ferry at Gondola Point from the Kennebecasis Valley and go across to it. It continues to perform better than their mainland cousins. Sales increased 23% over the same time last year to the end of September. A real estate fact. In the South Pacific, on one of the islands of Tonga, they only have enough real estate to build a 15-hole golf course. Didn't have enough room to build 18 holes, but they found enough real estate to build 15 holes. And on the scorecard it says, there's no penalty for a monkey stealing your golf ball. And I thought about that, and that's funny, but you know what? Around here, fox steal them all the time. So it's not just the monkeys. Anyway, talk to you next month.